Hey everybody, welcome back to Doc Lyle Talks Comics. As you can see, my voice is coming back around and I'm feeling much better. Thank you for all the well wishes. And I know I did a video yesterday talking about video games, but let's get back to comics. Whoo boy, this was a big one. So this is the third, fourth, and final issue of The Last Boy, a different retelling of Peter Pan. And in this, he began in the first issue by pretty much killing Captain Hook. He's still the Peter Pan, the rambunctious boy that we've all known from the Disney movies and from the stories. But the world has grown up around him. And he refuses to let go of that childlike, well, of his childish nature. It's not childlike. That we'll get to in a minute. He refuses to grow up. Have you ever had a fight with your brother or your sister about something when you were, say, 15, and then you have the same fight at 35, and then you have the same fight at 60 over the same thing? That's how circular these stories are. They don't grow without somebody writing them. These characters remain stagnant. Here, we get to see Tiger Lily, and Peter Pan in this third issue is fighting against the Phantom King. In the second issue, he went head-to-head against the Phantom King, and in part of him growing up, he got slashed across the chest. That had never happened before. It's like little boys or little girls playing pretend. Nobody ever gets cut with a knife. Nobody gets dropped on their head, you know, doing the tombstone from The Undertaker and breaks their neck. None of that ever happens. So for Peter to get cut, he's just, whoa, what happened here? Things just got serious. So he goes and enlists Tiger Lily's aid. Dan Panosian is one hell of a writer, okay? He's taken something that could have been very cliched, very removed from reality, and given it a good story. She says, I will do as you ask because I can't say no to you. And he said, why can't you say no to me? And she said, because I've always loved you. So you get growth between these characters instead of just the same circular pattern over and over and over. Now look, I might offend somebody because, you know, this is NASCAR territory. As we say in Mississippi, NASCAR. But circular storytelling is not that interesting. After a while, these characters have to grow. That's my gripe about Peter Parker being forced always back into the role of a singular man, rather than being married, being in a long-term, sustained, heading towards marriage relationship with anybody, Shay included. Then instead, you get this character and he's stunted. Peter Parker can never grow up. The character is over 60 years old, but he will perennially be not a teenager anymore, but late 20s. I don't know, if he goes another 60 years, they may age him up to the late 30s, and then we'll have the Ultimate Spider-Man thing all over again. But anyway, so in this third issue, he asks her for help. And she says, I will do it because I can't say no to you because I love you. And they get marched to their doom because the Phantom King is nigh unstoppable. And in the fourth issue, he goes to New Neverland and fights off a new captain, cutting off his bottom of his peg leg. But in this issue, the real emotional beat in this issue is a story is the story between Wendy Darling, whose father has passed, and her brother, David, I believe, who has gone on to become a captain in the Army, in the Navy, rather. And she's feeling sorry for herself. She says, I should have been there more for him. I should have helped Mom with him more. And he says, you did the most important thing that you could do. You took him out of that bed. And she said, what do you mean? And he said, by your stories. We have all lived and grown and become so much more via your stories than we could have ever been. That's why I reached the point that I reached, because I wanted to be Peter Pan, but I had to be realistic. So the closest thing I could be was to become a sea captain. So you get to see that these stories matter. Not just this issue of The Last Boy, but these comic stories, these prose novels, these graphic novels, these motion comics, all of these things, they help us grow. They help us get to the next level of where we are supposed to be. And in the finale, you get to see Peter grow up. Tinkerbell shows him something in a locked drawer and says, you can't beat the Phantom King, but I'm going to show you why you can't beat the Phantom King. And in the end, the Phantom King is entropy. It's the fact that none of us get to stay in Neverland. Every one of us has to reach that point, whether it's the loss of a parent, a spouse, getting married, having children. Something kicks us out of Neverland and sends us spinning off into the realm of adulthood, whether we want it or not. Peter Pan, excuse me guys, it's warm in here. Peter Pan would have stayed that way forever. He would have never changed if he had the option. He would have kept fighting Captain Hook. He would have kept going on adventures. He would have done all these things. But he came to realize his place was no longer there. So the Phantom King was not a villain in the classic sense, but instead, he was someone that could help move Peter along into the next phase of his life. For all intents and purposes, the Phantom King was his girlfriend or his wife. Great stuff. Absolutely great stuff by Dan Panosian, Alessia, Avallone, and Valentina Pinto. It's a 5-issue mini from Boom Studios. It wrapped up, I want to say last month, but I missed out on the 3rd issue, and then I had to get the 4th on eBay, and then the 5th issue, like I said, just came out a few weeks ago. But if you guys want a very different take on Peter Pan, one that will absolutely help you through some tough emotional things that you may be going through yourself and help you come out on the other side, check this book out. Absolutely check this book out. I can't say any more high praise for it other than the fact that it is absolutely awesome in its presentation, in its artwork, in its writing, in its scripting, in its pacing. Everything about this is a 5 out of a 5. Thanks, guys, and we'll catch you in the next video.